living in darkness, look for the light, cause the fire is burning and they're helping you fight. It's the fire keepers, the fire keepers, fire keepers, fire keepers, fire keepers. Recovery, Bunker BG, talk recovery. Fire keepers, fire. Welcome to Firekeeper Recovery. I'm Brant. Today I'm joined by Ashlee Smith, and we'll do a quick check-in and we'll get into our questions. I've had a pretty good week, just same as always, maintaining the mundane life, and that's just good the way it is. So, yeah, just patience and complacency in life. That's the way it has to be right now. So how about you? You've had a good week?
Oh yeah, worked all weekend. It's been pretty smooth though.
Heck
It's
yeah.
a Monday. You do it the best you can,
Yeah.
especially with these little ones.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and answer or ask the first question. What are some of the things or events that helped you move out of your active addiction into your recovery?
I would say a few losses in my family. Then after that, it was like my kids. I just, after using for so long, it gets tiring. It's old, fast.
Yeah.
When you wake up and you realize how you're so dependent on that drug just to feel normal, it's no longer fun. Having to try to recover from that, or having to go and get high, like that's your first thought in the morning. It's no longer fun after that.
Yeah. So once that you get tired of that, it's easy to get into recovery.
Oh yeah.
What were some of the challenges you faced in early recovery?
Realizing how bad my depression and anxiety became during that time. It was something I had to overcome. I actually had to ask for help on. I couldn't self-medicate anymore, and probably trying to get past some of the withdrawals too. They were very challenging, especially mentally, more than they were physically. Physically, I can get through that. Mentally, though, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think that's important to remind people that getting them emotions back in your early recovery is a big trigger, and to recognize that. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
What were some of your motivations in your recovery, and how did you find them if you didn't already know them?
Well, of course, anybody can say they're kids, but when it all boils down to it, it's what you want. You cannot sober up based off of the people around you. You have to do it for yourself, because it is so easy to relapse. Like, it just takes one little trigger of that person you're dependent, that you're doing it for, to just be like, all right, I'm gonna go get high now because things aren't good or something. You just have to do it. And just everyone around me was passing. It was crazy, and it just wasn't worth it after a while.
Right.
I mean, everybody understands the risk of getting high, like what you're doing when you drink too much. Like, I've seen people overdose on alcohol too. It's very shocking, but it happens, and it's a very scary thought.
Yeah.
I've seen people do stupid stuff on alcohol and drugs. I can say that too.
Yeah, and knowing it now and seeing it now is just a good reminder that that's where we were, and that's where we don't want to go back to as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I try not to judge the addict or anyone walking down the road or anything. Like, I still give some people rides that I used to be in active addiction with to help them out, because at the end of the day, that's someone's brother, that's someone's family, that's someone's friend, and they are loved. People want them to get sober, but it's just a hard thing to see when you're in that addiction, because you do things that you never thought you would. And when you become sober and you stick to being sober and get your mind back, you realize, like, I really was a different person.
Yeah, and I think that's important to remember too when you recover, is you were a different person. That drug did change you. How important was community and family in your recovery?
Well, when it came to family, for me personally, I had to reach out to family members that I knew were sober from alcohol. And that's where I had to surround myself with them. I mean, I more or less started interacting with my kids more. Like, that's what helped me get through that part. Then I joined CrossFit, and CrossFit was a big thing for me. And, you know, everybody talks about like, oh, I don't got a problem with the complex. I understand that, but I just love CrossFit because I've went there and I've made a family with those people. It's just more than just working out. I connected with them a lot.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's like a family that you chose and that you enjoy too. You get a lot out of that.
Yeah. And every time I've caught myself slipping, like I still slip every once in a while with drinking. When I catch myself doing that, I can go to Amy and talk about it. I can go to Jama and talk about it. I can go to anybody at CrossFit and just open up to them that, hey, I'm struggling, and they'll talk to me, they'll listen to me, and no one's going to judge me.
Yeah.
If anything, they support me.
Heck yeah, man. I'm glad you found that.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to my mom a lot more now, too, about it. I'm very open with her when I catch myself slipping, and she helps me.
Heck yeah. The honesty with yourself.
Yeah. And that's the big step, is realizing, like, you have that problem. You can't blame others. You can't blame no one else. Like, I used to sit around and say, oh, I drink because I grew up around it. I drink because I witnessed it. But when it really came down to it, that was my decision. It wasn't nobody's decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard to realize too.
Yeah.
That I'm the one who did all that.
Yeah. Once you own it, that's you're well on your way to figuring out that you're ready to stop.
Yeah. And I thank you for sharing that. Because a lot of people do come on here and say their motivations is their kids and their family, but you might be one of the first ones that have said you yourself was your motivation. That's important for people to get to. Because I know that was hard for me to think that it was important for me to be clean for myself instead of for my family and everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Just a general question, how has recovery changed your life?
Oh, it's changed a lot. Like, I'm a lot healthier. I'm a lot less stressed. I'm not suffering from, my anxiety is not that bad. I don't have to worry about waking up wondering, like, okay, am I going to feel like this? Am I going to be hungover? Am I going to be able to make it today? Am I going to be able to go to a family event without having to drink a beer before I walk in or do anything?
Yeah.
And even with getting high, like, there was a point that I had to make sure I had a fix, either while I was at an event or even during sometimes. And it was sad because it was like I really didn't want to, but I had to in a way.
Mom, I see one.
Okay, baby. And ever since then, I've always been an athlete. I used to work out back in high school, and I did CrossFit back in high school. And I got to give Caleb props for this. I know I always pick on him and give him a hard time, but I remember I ran into him at the CrossFit gym, and not CrossFit gym, but complex, and he invited me. He's like, why don't you come and do CrossFit with me down in Bryson at Jama's gym? And I was hesitant at first, I was probably about 6 weeks from after having my son, and I decided to go, and then that's when it kind of clicked how much I missed it, how much I love it. So I started getting more involved with that. I met the new people, started getting introduced to diets and things to help me, and now I do CrossFit competitions. I'm going to Oklahoma to play stickball and everything at the, what is it called, the First American Museum. Like, I'm very excited. I'm doing more. I'm going out and seeing more in the world instead of sitting in one place worrying about, like, getting high or getting drunk.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
go over there with that baby.
Yeah, because there were times you couldn't even just go to Tennessee because you knew you needed.
Oh, God.
You couldn't find before you left. So I can't go.
Yeah, can't find before I left, can't go. Or if I do go to Tennessee, what if I got pulled over and got searched, or they suspected I was high? Because people don't realize that when you're high, you're paranoid.
Yeah.
Or when you're drunk, you cannot hide being drunk. Everybody knows that loud, obnoxious drunk somewhere, and it's just not worth it. It all leads up to jail every time, and then you gotta worry about who's gonna get me out of jail, who's gonna pick me up, did they repo my ride? Like, there's just so much that comes with all that. It's just, none of it was worth it at the end. It was fun while it lasted, but when you become dependent,
Yeah.
Watch it.
We'll go over there with your stick.
Is there anything you're grateful for or that you've accomplished that you'd like to share?
Well, I guess we could say my new job at the casino being a gaming coach. I'm actually happy. That was a big accomplishment for me because I worked. I pushed for it for about 6 months. I was in the cage at first, and I kept trying to get in that position. Only because it opened up new doors for me to be able to be home with my kids be more active with them. And oh my God, Creed, don't knock it over. I'm able to do that. I was able to get me a new vehicle. I'm very happy about that. I was able to build my credit. Yeah, so, credit, new vehicle comes with that. And I'm a lot happier mentally, more stable with it now.
Yeah, that stability is a big.
Mom life, kids.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know. Be expecting this if you try to have babies. Yes.
Well, that's all the questions I usually have. Is there anything you'd like to share that I haven't covered? Or advice you would give to anybody thinking about recovery or in early recovery?
So, with my recovery, I know you see a lot of people going to Ashlee, going to detox and stuff. I personally did not do that. I did it on my own. Did I reach out to Ashlee at one point for some counseling? Yeah, but I never accomplished group meetings or nothing like that. It is possible to get sober, but I highly recommend if you are struggling that bad, don't be ashamed to go to Ashlee. There's nothing wrong with it. They will help. There's many peer supporters that will. And even if that's not it, there's people around here you can reach out to. Caleb and Caitlin or one of those people. Rob Martinez, I would recommend too. There is resources other than just Ashlee. They will help you and put forth effort. As long as they see you're trying, they will. Ain't nothing to be ashamed about it. Just about everybody around here goes through it. Don't let nobody try to judge you on it.
Yeah. And how ashamed were you when you were using?
Oh God. I was ashamed, but I was also in my mind a very good functioning addict. I felt like, hey, you can't tell that I'm getting high.
Yeah.
Because I got to the point I would force myself to eat. I'd force myself to sleep just to keep a decent looking figure about myself so nobody would know. I wasn't. That was loud.
Yeah.
I also, how can I put this? I also thought because I didn't get to the point of stealing or trying to go see my grandparents to see if they got something that I can take or anything like that. I felt like I wasn't that bad. I wasn't doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But I was well on my way. If I would have continued, everybody thinks they have it under control. It's never under control. It always gets you.
Yeah. That's important to remember, everybody out there. No matter how much you think you got it, it's got you.
Oh yeah. It's only a matter of time before you catch yourself slipping up and, you walking around here labeling people as, junkies, tweakers, whatever you want to call it. It don't take long before you are right there with them.
Yeah. And then you're having to shake that label. So,
Oh, yes, Lord.
is there anybody you'd like to shout out? Anybody that's helped you in your journey?
My mom. My mom was my biggest supporter. She was probably, my mom, she suffered herself. She had it rough. We had a very rough patch in life that it was just easy to turn to that. We've both helped each other. So I got to give it to my mom. I also got to hand it to my friend Caitlin. Caitlin, she'll listen to me and about everything too. I guess we could give it to Caleb too. I don't want to give him too much credit. Make his head too big.
Yes.
And my friend Daisy, I gave it to her. I could call her anytime, no matter how long I've went without talking to her, and she would listen to me and she'd tell me go get help. And I believe that's it.
Heck yeah. I'm glad you're having people in your life, man. It's important.
Hey, it is, and I come from a very long line of addicts. Like, my family is by far not perfect at all. But we do love each other and we do try. And, there's people around here that are coming from good families that don't suffer from that problem. And they think they're just trying to be controlling and manipulative, and it's not even that. They just want you back.
Yeah.
That, it's love. Even if it's got to be tough love, just put forth the effort and try. You will eventually clear up your mindset and see, what you're doing is not right.
Heck yeah. Man, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think people need to hear that. It is just love. That's the only way to know how to show it.
It's tough love. I'm not going to mention no names, but I got a little cousin that me and my mom took in, try to help her out. And, we caught her slipping once she got a hold of some money. And, when we seen that, it was a very scary situation considering we're both addicts ourselves. We could not be around it. And we eventually just had to tell her, we hate to do this, but you have to leave.
Yeah.
Now she's off to rehab and she's getting help. But it was, she apologized to us and everything, but we had to let her know, our sobriety has to come first.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Oh yeah, boundaries is a big thing. You have to learn boundaries, because if you don't learn them boundaries, it is so easy to get around the wrong person and go right back into it. I got friends around here that I love to death, but I cannot hang out with them for the simple fact of I know what they're doing. I got people that said the same thing about me there for a little while. They couldn't be around me because they knew the moment they asked or they mentioned it or I brought it up, I would give it to them. It's just, it's just part of being an addict. It's just, it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it changes the way we think, because sometimes in your addiction you want to be selfish. You need all the drugs for yourself.
Yeah.
But then there's times you want everybody to have it.
Oh yeah. And I've even asked another addict, trying to make sure you don't go to that road, he's testing me. I've even asked the other addict, why do you try to get other people to get high with you? And it's because when they're broke, they know that person has money. So that they know if they get that person high, they start liking it, guess who they can go to and mooch off of? That person. Let me go grab my son real quick.
So, that's about all I have today. So, I just want to thank Ashlee for joining us. And, that's Firekeeper Recovery. I'm Brant. And as always, we'll leave the light on for you. Eastern Bay, Cherokee, Firekeeper, Recovery. We the Firekeepers, the Firekeepers, the Firekeepers, the Firekeepers. coming to you live from the mountains of smoke. Firekeeper recovery, bringing you hope. If you're living in darkness, look for the light, cause the fire is burning to helping you fight. It's the firekeepers, the firekeepers, 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 firekeepers. Recovery, bumpin' BG, talk recovery.